Indianapolis shattering tourism records. The city's newest global ambassador and sports star weighs in. Hear what Caitlin Clark has to say. Also, bridging the digital divide in Indiana. An update on connecting Hoosiers in rural regions to high-speed internet access. Plus, an Indiana life sciences company at work to save young cancer patients in Kenya. And
the Hems handle effortlessly allows you to pick up whatever you need, walk over the garbage, easily toss it out without ruining your cabinets.
why it's all in the foot for an IU student entrepreneur. His kitchen innovation going gangbusters on Amazon. Inside Indiana Business is next.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick. Presented by Elevate Ventures and Indiana University.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business on this Super Bowl weekend. I'm Gary Dick. You know, Indianapolis hosted the NFL's marquee event 13 years ago, a watershed moment for the city, the event generating nearly $300 million into the local economy. Fast forward to now, and the city still scoring big, smashing record when it comes to hosting major events. Visit Indy this week releasing record-setting tourism numbers for 2024, and one of Indiana's brightest stars there to deliver a hospitality message to fans coming here for the next marquee event, the WNBA All-Star Weekend.
It's Midwest nice. People are really kind here, and that's what I've enjoyed about my time here. But hopefully they come back and have a great time at All-Star and see all that the city has to offer, even outside of obviously the fever. This is a great place, great food, a lot of things to do, really fun in the summers, and I'm lucky to be here. So hopefully they feel the same way.
Caitlin Clark on Indy's secret sauce. She and her Indiana fever, part of what drove nearly $6 billion in tourism into the central Indiana economy last year.
1,000 people, the biggest state of tourism crowd yet.
Visit Indy's State of Tourism report, also crediting some of those record numbers to Taylor Swift's concerts at Lucas Oil Stadium. The NBA All-Star Weekend last February.
Excited to be here. I think everybody here is having a lot of fun and just showcasing our beautiful city to the world. So looking forward to it.
And the old standbys Indy plays host to each year, like the 71,000 who attended Gen Con. Or the more than 36,000 firefighters and rescue workers in town for FDIC's annual convention.
This is, and always has been, and will be, the greatest spectacle in racing. This is the Indianapolis 500.
Get ready, green, 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 green.
And of course, the estimated 400,000 who jam into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in May.
The field of green will power us on the outside.
Certainly racers, not the only ones seeing green. Visit Indy Executive Vice President Chris Gahl joining me now with more on how Indy is cashing in on tourism dollars. As always, Chris, great to see you.
Thanks for having me on, Gary.
More record numbers. You saw some of those events, and it's interesting, kind of an eclectic mix, if you will, from Taylor Swift to the WWE, which was just here with WrestleMania. A record crowd, and the WWE was very impressed as well.
Absolutely. They were impressed. It was a fun event to host here in our city. When you look at 2024, Gary, every single metric that Visit Indy monitors to see the overall health of tourism was significantly up in the history of Indianapolis tourism. Hotel rooms sold, attendance at some of our marquee events, the sheer volume of events, the number of people clicking into our website to think about traveling. It was the healthiest year in tourism ever, and we feel so proud because of those eclectic events we were able to smash those records.
Yeah, and as you look at it, the reaction not only here in Indy, but from the people hosting these events like the WWE, here's what they had to say.
This was an incredible event. I'm not sure how, but I promise you when we get here for the next one, it will be better than this one. And when we get here for WrestleMania, we will blow all this out of the water, right? You haven't seen anything yet.
Big statement there. And again, not one, but three of the WWE's marquee events coming to Indy.
Sports tourism has never been more healthy because of the Indiana Sports Corps, because of our professional teams. we know that we can continue to build upon what we did for Royal Rumble, and we diversified the crowd. How many new people came to Indianapolis because of WWE that might not have otherwise visited our city? So we're so happy that they're here as part of this larger 10-year partnership that the Sports Corps wrestled into place.
Yeah, and you put a big focus on medical events. One of them just announced, I guess you've been working on for 22 years.
Can you believe the Plastic Surgeons of America will convene in Indianapolis in 2033? For 22 years, we have been courting them, asking them for their business, and finally, they said yes, because of the Pan Am Plaza expansion and the city's growth. That will snap the attention of other medical-related meetings to our city because of the gravitas of the plastic surgeons.
Let's talk about, you talk about the expansion of the convention center again. The Signia by Hilton Hotel now coming onto the skyline. How important are those? What will they mean to the bottom line?
Well, we're selling Indianapolis into the future. And so what a meeting planner sees on the ground today allows them the confidence to book into the future. So you can see it now 14 stories tall, the Pan Am project. We're booking things well out past 2035. We already have about $2 billion on the books when you look at that project and what it's already done for our city. Mm-hmm. So each and every day, people are kicking the tires and booking because of the expansion.
How competitive? I know the answer to this, but how competitive is it out there? Because Indianapolis is now playing with the heavyweights.
Orlando, Denver, San Francisco, Miami, New York, we are daily butting heads, viciously competing in the tourism arena to try to keep our conventions and grab new ones. It's a whole new level of competitiveness now that we have this expanded facility.
Yeah, as we wrap up, Chris, future events.
Yeah.
A lot in the pipeline, a lot of interest in the College Football National Championship, but also the NFL Draft.
Yeah. You know, having the oldest sports commission in the nation alongside the Colts and Visit Indy and the Capital Improvement Board, we are still in the running for the draft. We haven't heard. We're still
looking. Bid on 2 years, right?
2 years. We've given them 2 years of interest. We've shared with them we want to keep the combine past 2026. We've shared with them we want these marquee events. We feel like we're still in the running for the draft. Time will tell.
All right. Big numbers. Chris Gahl, is always great to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Well, taking a look now, a closer look at the impact of tourism across the entire state. It adds up to more than $16 billion for Indiana's economy. Indiana, a prime spot for people to watch the solar eclipse last April. And they did in big numbers. The celestial event of the century, attracting more than 3 million visitors who spent an estimated $148 million. And Dunes National Park in northwest Indiana, attracting between 2 and 3 million visitors annually, most of them coming from outside of Indiana. Heaven and earth, not the only thing attracting tourists to Indiana. Holiday World and Splash and Safari, a wildly popular tourist attraction in Santa Claus, the park generating $15 million a year in revenue, attracting well over 1 million visitors, and is ranked by U.S. News & World Report as one of the top 17 amusement parks in the country. Coming up next, connecting rural Hoosiers to high-speed internet. Billions of dollars going into bringing broadband access statewide. We check in on AT&T's investment and what's next when we come back.
What we need in our county is we have to get that broadband to the last road, and I live on the last road of our county.
That's Vanderburgh County farmer Joe Steinkamp's testimony to the importance of bridging the digital divide in Indiana. AT&T Indiana playing a major role in expanding broadband access. In Vanderburgh County alone, AT&T has invested nearly $40 million to provide high-speed internet access to some 20,000 customers. AT&T Indiana President Bill Soares joins me now with more. Bill, it's always great to see you.
Thanks.
Rural broadband connectivity is such a big issue. It's a business issue. Consumers need it as well. Give us your take on the state of rural broadband connectivity.
Connecting people to greater possibilities has always been at our core mission. And of course, in this situation, we're talking about access to just basic internet. We've invested almost $1.9 billion over the last 5 years to help get Hoosiers connected. And a lot of that has been through just private capital, but the state has invested over $300 million and awarded projects to lots of providers. We've been a part of 18 different projects over the last 4 years, bringing broadband to portions of Vanderburgh County, Warwick County, Delaware County, Clinton County, all over the state. There's never been more fiber being deployed, all with the purpose of connecting Hoosiers, but there's still work to do.
It sounds like we're at a watershed moment too. You mentioned the state investment, which has been substantial, but now there's a huge pot of federal money that folks are going to be up for grabs really in the week ahead.
This is the last big push, really. The state of Indiana estimates that there's about 144,000 homes and farms that still lack adequate broadband connection. There's 51 broadband providers from all around the state that have certified to participate in this program. All of our applications are due on Wednesday. The state's run a really clean program, very good and collaborative. And so I think the optimal goal here is that every single Hoosier has access to the internet within the next few years as a result of this program and partnerships that have come before.
As you look at Indiana's economic development future, put into perspective how important that connectivity is.
Well, we've talked for years about the tech community and the entrepreneurial and innovation economy and how that traditionally centers around Indianapolis and some of our regional hubs. This truly brings those opportunities to rural Indiana and of course the farmers. As you know, we did the entire Vanderburgh County. Every home and every farm in the county has access to 10 gigabits. Those are speeds that many of us, even in suburban Indiana, would love to have access to, but they're making a big difference. And with the programs to come here in the next few months, the goal is that every single Hoosier has access to adequate internet.
Broadband connectivity, a huge issue. Bill Soares, AT&T Indiana. No, we'll be talking much more about it. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Well, now let's send it over to Mary Rachel Redmond with a look at business headlines making news around Indiana.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
Well, Gary, avian flu has officially hit flocks on Indiana farms, and the fallout isn't just impacting farmers and commercial egg producers. It's also putting a strain on consumers' pocketbooks. Egg prices expected to increase 20% this year, due in large part to the aggressive strain of bird flu found just last week at Roseacre Farms in Seymour, the second largest egg producer in the U.S. But Roseacre isn't alone. The State Board of Animal Health lists avian flu outbreaks at nearly 10 farms across Indiana. The month of January alone saw more bird flu cases reported than the last 2 years combined. So what does all this mean for Hoosier farmers and consumers?
We are seeing directly one of the outcomes, which is increased egg prices. And this is a result of, as we lose the overall national laying hen population, as we decrease those numbers, the amount of eggs that we can produce decrease. And it's going to take us a while before we can have the response with new birds coming online to produce those eggs, to drop those egg prices like we are used to seeing.
While Karcher remains optimistic, he says it could take as long as 2 years before places like Roseacre Farms are fully able to recover. No dice for a New Haven casino, but now there's a new effort to potentially move the Rising Star Casino somewhere else. The original bill, which would have moved the gaming license to New Haven, has stalled. State Senator Andy Zay of Huntington tells us the casino is still an underperforming license in an oversaturated market. Zay filed a new bill this week that calls for a study to outline the 3 best Indiana locations for a new casino. Las Vegas-based Full House Resorts has tried moving Star Casino a number of times with no success, but is said to be looking at Indianapolis as a potential site. The largest festival in Fort Wayne is in danger of filing for bankruptcy if it doesn't raise $300,000 by Monday. The Three Rivers Festival has been a staple in the Summit City for more than 50 years. And to help save it, organizers have launched a crowdfunding campaign on GiveSendGo to raise $450,000. Construction continues on a Liberation Labs biomanufacturing facility in Richmond. The company just secured an additional $50.5 million in additional capital, bringing the total investment to $125 million. The plant will produce alternate proteins used in food products as well as agricultural goods. It's expected to open sometime this year. An Indianapolis-based ag tech startup took top prize at this year's Farm Bureau National Ag Innovation Challenge. GRIP is a software platform designed to help farmers keep records of assets on their farms while also improving communication among everyone in their operations. In other tech news, an app combining technology with recreational fishing is casting its net into the Hoosier State. Fish Buddy, which started in Norway, is bringing its U.S. headquarters to Indiana. Fish Buddy uses AI and satellite data to help fishermen discover the best locations to fish and analyze their catches, among other features. A specific location for the headquarters has not yet been announced.
Thanks to all of you for talking here, and I hope the folks at home see you and see you're all right.
You cannot tell the story of World War II without Ernie Pyle.
Dana, Indiana's Ernie Pyle was the most famous World War II newspaper correspondent read by millions and regarded as the voice of the common soldier, tragically killed by sniper fire in Okinawa. Now, nearly 80 years on, the community that produced the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist is working on a memorial park dedicated to its favorite son. The Ernie Pyle and Veterans Memorial Park is currently under construction just north of the Ernie Pyle Museum in Dana. The park will feature a new statue created as well-known Terre Haute sculptor Bill Wolfe will be doing the work. Very exciting. Gary?
Lots of business news around Indiana. Thanks, Mary Rachel. Coming up next, the Indiana Life Science connection to saving lives halfway across the globe. How Hoosier Healthcare is helping detect cancers in high-risk people living in Kenya. Details in this week's Business of Health.
There is something special about Africa. As a continent of 54 diverse countries, Africa offers natural beauty. Unfortunately, Africa also has a problem.
That problem? Too many cancer cases going undiagnosed. But Hoosier Healthcare is playing a big role in reversing that trend. Business of Health reporter Kylie Valletta here now with more. Kylie.
Thanks, Gary. An Indianapolis company has already shown this project in Western Kenya is saving kids' lives, and now it's getting a big boost. Beckman Coulter Life Sciences partnered with Indiana University 6 years ago to ramp up testing for childhood leukemia and lymphoma. If caught early, the cancers are curable, so Beckman Coulter provided the high-tech equipment and training to spot the cancer. The project has improved survival rates by 50%. The National Cancer Institute is now adding a $2.5 million grant to ramp up the project so it can help more children, especially those in rural areas whose families have to make major sacrifices to get to the hospital.
First part of the grant will focus on bringing the patients into the hospital and get the diagnostic testing at a reduced cost. Therefore, the families don't have to make a tough choice on whether they feed their family or provide care for their children. This is all pediatric testing. Ultimately, we would like to be able to go into the communities and provide the testing in those rural settings without having to bring people to the hospital.
The extra funding will train more workers for the project and increase testing and supplies to reach more children. Indianapolis-based Ortho Indy says it's the first in the world to use a new surgery method for patients needing spinal fusion. As part of a clinical trial, Ortho Indy says a Hoosier is the first patient to have a newly approved spinal fusion implant called OsteoAdapt, which was developed by a medical device startup on the East Coast. It also allows surgeons to access the spine while the patient lies on their back, rather than their stomach, which is the traditional method. Ortho Indy is looking for more Hoosiers with degenerative disc disease who want to be part of the trial. A pair of Indianapolis businessmen are hopeful the hits will keep coming for indoor pickleball. We first told you about Ron Brock and Dave Gilreath opening a pickler location at Keystone Crossing in Indianapolis last summer. Well, their second club, even bigger with 19 courts, is now open in Noblesville. And a big name attached to the Pickler Noblesville. The location is a joint venture with football legend Drew Brees.
I graduated with a degree in management from Purdue, so I always hoped that my management degree would come back and give me the opportunity to, give back and invest in the communities that have meant so much to me.
And this is the second of 6 Pickler clubs the duo plans to open in central Indiana. And now to Northeast Indiana, where Fort Wayne Trails is toasting a milestone. Trail use counts have hit the 1 million mark. Infrared counters along the 148 miles of trail clocked the milestone. Allen County is working to keep expanding the trail network, which local leaders say promotes health, wellness, and quality of life.
Back to the Kenya story. Indiana University's been there for a long time, but Beckman Coulter now really kind of filling in some gaps.
That's right. You hear about these university partnerships all the time, but a lot of time they need private industry to step in, and so Beckman Coulter is providing equipment that automates it. So rather than a person in the lab doing this manually, they can churn through so many more samples and diagnose so many more kids because they have that equipment.
Making a big impact in Kenya. Thanks
That's
very
right.
much, Kylie. Well, still ahead, an IU student's innovative kitchen device and how it's selling like hotcakes on Amazon.
Boneless, skinless chicken thighs. But what do you do with the scraps? Walk over and check out the handless handle. With my foot, I can open the garbage to throw out this.
The story behind how IU junior Jack Wax came up with the handless handle and how it could fit into kitchens in the future.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Big plans in the works on the Trine University campus. It is a campus in Angola that has changed dramatically over the years. Lots of new construction there. The school this week unveiling its new $120 million Something Greater master plan. Part of the plan includes a new student design center, which will offer state-of-the-art equipment and more space for Trine design teams. A new 200-bed residence hall is already under construction and will open in the fall. And Trine also planning renovations to its football stadium. In South Bend, the Robinson Community Learning Center will expand one of its programs thanks to a Lilly Endowment grant. Talk with Your Baby focuses on educating parents and caregivers about the importance of interacting with their kids from birth to age 3. The curriculum will grow from 1 to 4 modules in English and Spanish.
We're going to dip into another area that we haven't really expanded upon, and that is education for caregivers, preschool teachers, early childhood folks, birth to 3. So that'll be a new curriculum that we're developing.
The center is an off-campus educational initiative of Notre Dame. Last year, more than 300 families participated in the program.
You better not.
Hi, I'm Jack, and that's why I created this, the handless handle, so you don't have to use your hands while opening garbages and cabinets.
How about using your feet instead? IU Kelley School of Business junior Jack Wax's handless handle is all the rage on Amazon. An innovative kitchen tool Wax created 5 years ago after his parents renovated their kitchen, and he noticed his mom having trouble accessing the garbage cabinet.
I can just make something that solves this. And so I kind of wrote down the idea in like an old notebook. I used to write down like a lot of business ideas, still do. I started the development within a high school incubator class, kind of did all the customer research, got the original like shape designs. I want to grow this business to be the name brand for, I want to put it on every single, garbage cabinet in the country.
One of Indiana's great young innovators, Wax's company recently surpassed $200,000 in sales with 12,000 handles sold. That's a mouthful. Well, thanks for joining us on this edition of Inside Indiana Business. We leave you this week with a special tribute to Black History Month. I'm Gary Dick. Go out and make it.